Prusias, Prusia, Prusa, Bursa. In 200 BC, the Romans built a great road that stretches from the Venice in Italy to Soundbound Strait of Messina in Sicily. They called it the Sun Way. But the sun does not rise from south. The sun rises from the east, from Anatolia. Anatolia means the sun rises out of hands of goddess Cybele. In fact, the Romans' tactics were to invade Sicily. Sicily belonged to Carthage, the kingdom of Phoenician, originally home to Sami race, current Tunisia. Mediterranean sovereignty was totally in hand of the Carthage kingdom. At the time, from the east, Romans had not entered in Anatolia. They were occupying Mesopotamia. Carthage had a modest senate with a moderate king called Hamilcar Barca. They knew that Roman army was very strong. They refrained from fighting, but the king, Hamilcar Barca's general son, Hannibal Barca, asked his father to fight the Romans, saying, "Father, let me fight and destroy Rome." The king, with regret and sadness, allowed his son to go to Rome. However, opposite to his thoughts, Hannibal Barca defeated the Roman army and became their nightmare, destroying the Roman Empire's army and entering Rome. Messengers from Rome scared the Carthage kingdom with threats. The Senate of Carthage recalled Hannibal. Hannibal had to return, otherwise he would be sentenced to death if he did not. When they woke up one morning, Hannibal and Carthage Senate was betrayed, stabbed in the back by Romans. Roman ships and their army surrounded Carthage. Hannibal is defeated. With the Roman army in pursuit, Hannibal Barca escaped with his army, elephants, and Carthage treasures. Over the Alpines, they traveled through the Marseille, Cannes, Nice, Monte Carlo, Menton, and passed through the San Remo towards Anatolia. His army was exhausted. Morale was very low. To boost his army's morale, Hannibal on his horseback drew his sword and said, "Soldiers, do not worry. We will either find a path or we will open a path." They reached Anatolia. They traveled down to south of the Marmara Sea, Halikarnassia, Antigonia, Nicosia, the kingdom of Bithynia. They were always at war with the kingdom of Bergamon. Their capital city was Halikarnassia, Antigonia, Nicosia. Later, Izmit became their capital city, and their king was the 11th king of Bithynia called Prusias the first. They met. Prusias asked, "Where do you come from?" Hannibal answered, "I come from Carthage, and a Roman army is after me, and I'm looking for a new homeland." Hannibal gives a share of Carthage treasures to Prusias, and Prusias tells Hannibal, "So, find a place to settle in my land." Hannibal Barca investigated the lands, found a place near the present Uludağ, Olympus, Mysos, Kesista. He built a citadel on the top of the high hill, hid his treasures somewhere near the bottom of the walls in a secret room. He locked and sealed all the tunnels leading to the treasure room. Carthage treasures, first Byzantine, then Byzantines, then through the Ottoman period, treasure had not been found, so never left the walls. In 1855, after an earthquake which ruined the walls of treasure, is still hidden, never seen the daylight. Hannibal Barca, after finishing the castle, named its Prusias on the behalf of King Bithynia. Later, the Romans sent a message to the king of Bithynia, threatening him that if he did not hand Hannibal to them, they would side with the Bergama, King Attilius Flamand III, and they would lose. Meanwhile, the son of King Hannibal, Barca General Hannibal Barca was in Gebze near Kocaeli. He was desperate, but being a very proud general, he drank a poison from his ring, ending his life rather than falling into the Roman hands. His tomb, kept in a field near the Libisi, Gebze, and protected by the TÜBİTAK, Turkish Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. Prusia, once named Prusa, had become today's Bursa. He gave our deepest respects to the Hannibal Barca and the son of Hannibal Barca, to the 11th Bithynia king of Prusias I, BC 260 to 185, for building and giving us this beautiful historic castle. We remember you with respect. During this period, 200 to 300 BC, the largest library was in ancient Egypt. They have found writing paper called papyrus, where today paper name comes from. The kingdom of Bermaga in Anatolia, with 200,000 books, had the second biggest library. Suddenly, ancient Egypt kingdom forbid the export of papyrus outside Egypt. The Pergamon library writers were in difficult situation with no paper to write on. The king of Pergamon, Attalus Philemon III, asked all the wise men of the kingdom to either produce a paper that would be written on or lose their heads. Much to their relief, a paper called the Persimmon was discovered, which was made from the goat skin.